Hello and welcome to Section 2, Episode 21 of the LUFC Fan Zone podcast. I'm Sam Isles.
And I'm Jack Ellis.
And each episode we'll be talking to an ex-Leeds United player or manager about their time at the club.
All of our episodes can be found on our LUFC Fan Zone YouTube channel, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcast. And last episode was the first section of Episode 21 with Luciano Becchio, who spoke to us about arriving at Leeds on trial from Spanish Third Division side Madeira, scoring 19 goals in his first season in English football, and beating Manchester United at Old Trafford in the FA Cup.
This section, Luciano speaks to us about promotion from League One in the same year as that win at Old Trafford, as well as how life at Leeds changed as Simon Grayson was replaced by Neil Warnock as the club's manager. Luciano also speaks about his departure for then Premier League side Norwich City, and the deal which involves Steve Morrison moving in the other direction to Leeds, as well as if he ever came close to a move back to Leeds after his time in East Anglia.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned about Leeds getting distracted following that Manchester United game, Leeds failed to win any of the following 3 games at the end of April, and with just 6 matches remaining in League One, Leeds were in 4th at the time, after comfortably sitting top of the league just 3 months before. What do you think was the reasoning for that drastic turn in form at the second half of the season?
Y primero porque la liga es muy larga y es muy difícil seguir a un buen nivel toda la liga. Entonces, como dijimos antes, empezó muy bien, estábamos muy cómodos arriba y luego tuvimos, después del partido contra el United, tuvimos a mejor esa distracción desde ese partido y por eso viene un poco el bajón, pero ya como te dije antes, tuvimos esa reacción de reengancharnos otra vez y quedamos segundo.
So, as we said before in the conversation, League One is a tough league because, as you know, there is 24 teams, 46 games, plus the cup games. You know, as we said now, they got distracted with that Man United game. And, you know, sometimes you get injuries, you get players coming in, coming out. It's not easy to get that regular, results during the whole season because, as we said, it's a long season. It's a difficult one. Many games, but at the end of the day, what Luciano was saying is that they were able to get back on it, and then finally they finished in that second position that gave them the promotion to Championship.
And just to rewind a little bit, despite the previous slip-ups, Leeds faced Bristol Rovers on the final day of the season at Elland Road, knowing that a win would secure automatic promotion to the Championship. And once again, you started that match, Luciano, and made your 37th appearance of the season. But how were you feeling going into that match? It was a full Elland Road and the supporters were desperate for promotion. So did you feel any nerves or were you under any pressure about getting the win at all?
La verdad que teníamos una gran presión, no te voy a mentir. Teníamos una gran presión en el último partido en casa. Teníamos que ganar sí o sí. Teníamos que ganar sí o sí. Entonces, claro, con 30.000 personas en el campo fue complicado. Aparte, el comienzo del partido fue difícil porque nos expulsaron a más Gradel. Después de la expulsión nos metieron un gol y teníamos que, con 10 teníamos que ganar, perdiendo 1-0.
Well, he's saying that he remembered that game with a lot of pressure. They had a lot of pressure. They knew that the only option that they had was that they had to win. So, as the game was coming, when he was on the field, he's saying that he remembers that everything went wrong because they got Max Gradel with a red card. They were losing 1-0, and then they need a miracle. They need a miracle that day.
Después de ese partido ya fue todo diferente. Supimos remontarlo, ganamos 2-1 y bueno, la consagración, subir a Championship.
Then they won the crazy game, and they really, obviously, they achieved what Leeds has been, looking for during the last few seasons. So they achieved the promotion, and they were really, really, really happy.
And yeah, like you just said, Leeds started the game very poor and going a goal down, and then Max Gradle getting sent off as well, like you just mentioned. And once again, Leeds came back from 1-0 down and eventually won the game 2-1, at which secured promotion. What can you remember about the celebrations at full time, Luciano?
La verdad que le pusimos, como digo yo, unos cojones muy grandes para revertir la situación, una situación que se nos puso en principio negro. Y una roja directa, perdiendo 1-0, era muy, muy, muy complicado sacarlo adelante, muy complicado, con tanta presión también. Ya te digo que después de ese partido ya fue todo diferente.
He remembers that, as you said, it was really, really bad, really poor. They knew, so they while they were on the pitch, they said, we don't have another option, so we have to show our bollocks here and prove to this club, to these people, that we are going to be able to win that game. And that was what happened. So they reversed the situation, and the only thing that he remembers is that they won the game, and they achieved what they were looking for.
And although your strike partner, Jermaine Beckford, got most of the plaudits that season and picked up a lot of awards for the goals he scored, you also played a vital role for Leeds that year, in scoring 15 goals in 37 League One appearances, which was, once again, just your second year in England. And you did form a fantastic strike partnership in that promotion-winning season with Jermaine. But why do you think that was, and what made you play so well together?
Bueno, la verdad que me sentía muy cómodo jugando con él. Desde el principio, desde que llegué al Leeds, nos hicimos muy, muy amigos, muy compañeros. Él me ayudaba mucho en los entrenos. Siempre ha estado a mi lado, y yo creo que es por eso, luego se plasmaba en el campo y se veía.
He had an amazing connection with Jermaine since the beginning. When he arrived, they used to talk a lot in training. Jermaine used to help him a lot with some stuff that he didn't understand or he couldn't do on during the games. Or the connection that they had since the beginning, it was great. They became good friends, and he's saying that relationship, that amazing relationship that they had together during the week, after the dressing room, you could see it during the games, and obviously he didn't care about who get the more awards. They were good friends, they were playing together, enjoying themselves, and both of them, they were happy if one of them scored the goal. And normally, they weren't scoring nearly in every game, so they were really happy for each other.
Yeah. And during that promotion-winning season, you and Jermaine scored a combined 40 League One goals, with Beckford scoring 25 and yourself scoring 15, which was well over half the total amount of goals Leeds scored that year. However, following Leeds' promotion at the Championship, Jermaine moved to Everton after failing to sign a new contract at Leeds. But when did you know that he wasn't going to be a part of Leeds' squad for the first season back in the Championship? And what sort of impact did it have on you, knowing that you would be moving up to the next league, a harder league, but your strike partner, who you clearly worked really well with, wouldn't be at the club?
La verdad que estaba contento por él, porque sabía que si iba a jugar al Everton, si iba a jugar a la Premier, era su sueño. Lo estábamos hablando nosotros antes. Por él me sentí bastante contento, ¿no? Obviamente que yo, pensando un poco en mí, estaba un poco triste porque era mi amigo, era mi apoyo. Me entendía súper bien con él fuera del campo, él me ayudaba mucho también en cosas de la vida de Inglaterra. La verdad que un poco triste, pero a la vez muy contento por él, por su familia.
So at the beginning, he was really sad, to be fair. He was really sad because obviously was leaving his friend, first of all, his friend, his partner on the field when they were really connected. But at the same time, he was really happy for his friend and his family also, because the amazing relationship that they had inside and outside the pitch, it was biggest. So he was, weird at the beginning because he knew that he would miss his friend. But before that happens, they used to talk, they used to dream, that they wanted to play one day in Premier League. So they used to talk about that. And Jermaine Bedford, when he signed for Everton, Luciano was really happy for him.
Despite the step up into the Championship and playing with new strike partnerships with attackers Billy Painter, Ross McCormack, and of course yourself, Fede, joining the club in the summer transfer window, both Leeds and yourself once again had a great start to the campaign, and by January, Leeds were in the playoffs, and you had already scored 13 goals in the Championship. Did you expect that sort of start from both yourself and Leeds, as well the Championship being obviously a more difficult league and a step up from League One?
Lo primero que sí me esperaba que Leeds estuviera arriba, porque obviamente nuestro objetivo era otra vez subir. Queríamos llevar a Leeds donde está ahora, ¿no? En la Premier League. Entonces sí me lo esperaba. Y en lo mío personal, yo siempre seguí luchando, siempre seguí tratando de hacer lo mejor para ayudar al equipo. Por suerte llevaba una buena racha de goles, que a la vez era muy meritorio, ¿no? Para ayudar a Leeds.
So he wasn't impressed in that first season in Championship. Obviously, everybody knew that Championship obviously is more difficult than League One, because all the teams they had better players, a lot of money to spend. But Luciano knew, as we said before, the first season when he was at Leeds, the idea was to get promoted to Championship, and that season the club making a great effort, making good signings, and obviously the target was again to get promoted, Leeds United, and get it back to the Premier League. Obviously, he's saying that he wanted to score as many goals as he could in that moment. So he wasn't worried about that league. He knew the way that the league was going on. That was his third season, so he used to watch a lot of games in Championship, Premier League, League One, playing himself there. So he wasn't impressed at all. My opinion, guys, is that we had an amazing squad. I started playing the first 6-7 games. Obviously, as you know, I wasn't in my best level. I couldn't find myself in the club. I didn't feel comfortable because some things I didn't feel comfortable, to be fair with you, and I knew that. That's why I had to leave the club in January on loan. But personally, I used to train with this lad, and with the rest of the team, and we had an amazing squad. The dressing room was brilliant, and we really enjoyed. We had a great run, and also Luciano scoring goals. It was beautiful. I remember. I don't know if you remember when he was on the bench against Bristol City.
Yep, that's the next question. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
No, it's fine. No, go on.
Go on, continue.
Then and then I don't remember how many people was at the stadium that night, but I think it was nearly 30,000 people start singing Luciano, and Ami came in and he makes his hat trick. So it was something really nice. That I was sad for my situation because I wasn't playing at all at that moment, but I was really happy for my friend because, it was a great news for him. So.
Yeah, and like I said, just about that hat trick, Luciano, he scored 13 goals before January, and 3 of them was, like you just mentioned, Bristol City at home and a packed out Elland Road. What can you remember about that match? And what did it feel like to score a hat-trick in the Championship, and especially in front of a packed out Elland Road?
Bueno, como bien decís, delante de toda mi gente y delante de mi madre, porque mi madre había venido a visitarme y estaba en la grada, y la verdad que fue algo impresionante. Estaba en el banquillo, era un partido complicado contra Vítor City, y en 17 minutos, algo increíble, marcar 3 goles en 17 minutos, fue impresionante. Ya te digo, delante de toda esa gente, lo que significa, y delante de mi madre, así fue para ella un regalo increíble.
It was a present for his mom, because as you know, his mom and dad, they live in Argentina. So, like maybe once or maybe twice per year, they used to come and visit him at Leeds or whatever he used to be. So that night, his mom was at the ground, and I was with his mom on the ground watching the game together. So he was obviously something that he would never forget, because in 17 minutes he scored a hat-trick in front of, 30,000 people. So he just was really, really happy. Truly happiness.
And partly because of that hat-trick, Luciano, you also won the Championship Player of the Month in November. How did that feel to win an award like that? And do you still have the trophy?
La verdad que no fue un trofeo para mí, yo lo sentí que fue un trofeo para todo el equipo, para todo el grupo, porque obviamente sin ellos no lo hubiera conseguido. Yo tenía esa confianza del entrenador, la confianza de los compañeros, entonces eso me hacía sentir mucho más fuerte. Y el trofeo sí, claro que como tanto el balón como el trofeo lo tengo bien guardado.
So for him, guys, it wasn't for him. He's like saying thank you for the team, because without the team he wouldn't be able to make his first hat trick, and also performing that month like he was doing. He wants to thank the team at that moment, because also the confidence that the Simon Grayson was giving to him. So, and obviously he has the ball from that game, and he has the trophy at home.
And once again, that season you had a fantastic year, and you scored 19 goals in the Championship. And as a team, Leeds finished 7th, which was just outside the playoffs. Although it might have been seen as an overachievement, how disappointed were you about missing out on the playoffs after such a good season individually?
La verdad que me sentí un poco triste, porque en realidad yo creo que fueron que me perdí los últimos 4 o 5 partidos. Tuve una grave lesión contra el Watford en casa. Veníamos muy bien y la verdad que me sentí triste por no poder ayudar al equipo en esos últimos 4 o 5 partidos que quedaban. Lamentablemente no se sacaron buenos resultados y no pudimos disputar los playoffs de ascenso.
He's saying that he was really sad and very disappointed, obviously, after an amazing season. Just getting promoted from League One is not easy, the season that we made. And obviously, he picked against Watford an injury, so he couldn't help the team the last 4 or 5 games. He can't remember now. But obviously, he was very disappointed, because as we said at the beginning of this conversation, guys, the idea was, even if it was the first season back on Championship, the idea was to be in that playoffs and try to get promoted. So that's the truth.
And after that fantastic season for yourself as individual performance, at the start of the next 2011-12 campaign, you picked up a hamstring injury which ruled you out for about 5 months, meaning that you'd missed the start of that season and you were unable to carry on your form from the previous year. How frustrating was that for you? Because although you did come back into the first team squad in September, you were mostly limited to substitute appearances, partly because of you needing to return to full fitness, but also because of the form of Ross McCormack, who was in this team and had replaced you because of the injury.
Sí, para mí fue frustrante porque, como dije antes, yo me lesioné a final de la temporada. Tenía un mes y medio para recuperarme, casi 2 meses. Yo pensaba que con los médicos del club que ya estaba bien, volvimos en pretemporada y me vuelvo a resentir de la lesión. Me vuelvo a resentir de la lesión y había que tomar una decisión, que era si me quería operar. Era una decisión complicada, dura, y bueno, finalmente se tomó la decisión de operarme y eso conllevaba perderme 4 meses.
So it was very frustrating for him because he finished the season. Obviously, he wanted to help that season, but he couldn't. In theory, after that month, he would be ready, or he should be ready for pre-season. I remember that because I was there. We start pre-season, but he's still having problems. You know, he didn't feel comfortable. He had pain. He couldn't sprint. He couldn't go 100%. And obviously, Luciano, if he couldn't go 100%, he spoke with Harvey at the moment, that he was our boss of the physios, and they had to take a decision, you know, or resting a little bit longer, or take the risk and get an operation. But Luciano knew that if he took the operation, that would be between 3 and 4 months, another 3-4 months, you know. So finally, they decided that the best option was getting an operation. Obviously, as we said, he was really frustrated. He didn't get an operation, but it was the best option for him. Obviously, after that, he came back, as you said. Obviously, at the beginning was really difficult because also the team, Ross McCormack in that case, was a very good player. He had the rhythm of the competition. Obviously, Ross, he knew the championship really well. But at the end, Luciano got confident. He felt really, really well after that operation, and obviously it wasn't easy. But at the end, he could perform again.
And although you were injured for a large chunk of the first half of that year, Leeds' form wasn't the best, and in February the side was comfortably mid-table, and as a result manager Simon Grayson was sacked and his replacement was Neil Warnock, someone who had a reputation of getting sides promoted, but also a reputation of playing a style of football which was different compared to Grayson. Do you think that was the correct decision from Leeds to sack Grayson, or do you think he deserved to stay at the club given that he had helped Leeds gain promotion from League One with limited funds available to him from the Leeds board?
La verdad que fue una decisión que no la esperaba. Fue una decisión que yo personalmente no la recibí bien. No veía justo que no le den un poco más de oportunidad por todo lo que había conseguido Simon. Me supo muy mal por él también, porque él tenía muchas ganas de seguir, él hablaba mucho con nosotros y se veía con esa confianza que lo íbamos a sacarlo adelante. Personalmente no vi un buen cambio. Las ideas fueron totalmente diferentes con Warnock, pero ya te digo, yo hubiera esperado que le hubieran dado la oportunidad.
He didn't expect that change. That they sacked Simon Grayson, because that this is what you mentioned. You know how difficult it was getting promoted from League One to Championship. How difficult was the first season back on the Championship, making that performances the season before, and they thought that the results. Obviously, everybody expects Leeds United to be in the top 6, but you know. Championship is not easy. There are a lot of teams that they are really good teams, strong teams, and Luciano thinks that Simon deserves to stay a little bit more longer on the club. Obviously, the players, in that case Luciano, they took the decision. The club took that decision, and they have to respect it. And obviously, they'll try to play for Neil Warnock the best as they could. He didn't feel really comfortable with the ideas that Warnock brings on, but this is the opinion that he has, and he remembers.
How did Neil Warnock's approach to management differ from that of Simon Grayson's, and did it suit you less as a player?
No,
Que Warnock.
eran ideas totalmente diferentes. Recuerdo que la temporada siguiente Warnock de verdad que me dio también mucha confianza. Dijo que iba a ser un equipo acorde a mi estilo de juego. Eso la verdad que me sorprendió que me hablara así. Fue algo grato para mí, ¿no? Que venga un entrenador como Warnock y me diga que va a traer jugadores nuevos para que jueguen para mí.
So at the beginning it was a little bit different, okay, because the way that they work, it was different, different mentality. But something that Luciano likes a lot from Neil Warnock was when that season finished and they start the pre-season, the manager said to him that he would bring players to play for Luciano. So that means that obviously for you as a player, it makes you feel important. So he was really happy and really impressed about that comments, because a coach, a name of a coach like Neil Warnock, if it says that to you, it makes you feel really important in his project.
And despite Warnock seemingly arriving at Elland Road in an attempt to gain promotion at all costs rather than to maybe play attractive football along the way, in his first half season at Leeds, the side finished 14th, and then in the second, they were once again mid-table, despite Luciano continuingly to score. And in December of Warnock's second season, Luciano was once again comfortably Leeds' top goal scorer. However, there were some rumours that Leeds had attempted to offer him a new contract to keep him at the club. However, in January, news broke that the offer wasn't good enough, and as a result, he handed in a transfer request. Was that true?
Sí, la verdad que tenía varias ofertas, tanto en Inglaterra como fuera. La oferta más importante obviamente fue la de Norwich City de Premier League. Hablamos con el club, yo quería realmente quedarme y seguir en el proyecto y para intentar quedarme, pero realmente no vi tanto como parte del club como el entrenador, no vi ese esfuerzo que a lo mejor podían hacer para retenerme. Al contrario, sentí como que querían dejarme ir.
So, guys, it's true that Luciano, in that winter he had a lot of options to go. Okay, he didn't want to leave. Since the beginning, he wanted to stay at the club, but he didn't felt that the club really wanted him. That's why he felt that. It's because the club had the offers from Norwich City in that case, that Luciano at the end he decided to go over there. But the problem, it wasn't about the money. Luciano, that the thing that he wanted is feeling something different, and it's something that he didn't feel. He couldn't. So that's why finally he didn't feel that the club really wanted to re-sign him, or wanted to offer him a better option, or maybe no better option, but nearly the option that Norwich City in that case was offering him. So that's why he took the final decision. Obviously, he didn't want to do it, but it was a great opportunity for him, and he had to take it.
And like you said, on the 30th of January 2013, which was deadline day of that January transfer window, you made the permanent switch to then Premier League side Norwich, signing a 3-year deal. During your time at Leeds, you scored 87 goals in 221 appearances, with 76 of them coming in the league, which makes you the 10th highest league goal scorer in the history of Leeds United. Because of them appearances, goals, and that record, what was it like to make that move away from the club?
La verdad que sentí tristeza porque, como te dije antes, yo no quería irme. Habíamos tenido 3-4 reuniones con el club para tratar de quedar y no se pudo acordar. Sentí que el entrenador tampoco quería que esté al 100%. Me manejé por sensaciones, no sentí, como te dije, el esfuerzo, y la verdad que sí que era mi sueño jugar en Premier League, y por una parte estaba muy contento porque era un sueño de chiquito, pero yo estaba muy bien en Leeds, estaba muy cómodo, me sentía muy querido por la afición, me sentía como en casa.
So it was a really hard decision, to be fair, guys, because as he said, he had 3-4 conversations with the club. He made everything possible. He wanted to stay 100%, but he didn't. As I said before, I repeat it a lot, but he didn't feel that connection. He started to doubt if the club really wanted him to stay. He didn't feel that confident with the manager. So really and truly, he was happy to go and play in the Premier League, because obviously it was a dream that he had, but he wanted to make that dream possible with Leeds United. And at the end of the day, obviously, he performed in Premier League and all this stuff, but he left Leeds United very disappointed, because he had that connection with the fans. He felt himself in love. He knew that the fans love him, and that connection with the fans, it was true. Even yourselves now, you remember Luciano as a legend. I remember him. I used to be his teammate, and we used to walk on the street, and we couldn't walk because everybody wanted to talk to him, a picture, or and it's difficult to. I'm not saying Leeds is difficult, but it's difficult to get that connection with the fans, and because the fans in Leeds, they are very, how do you say,
passionate.
Yeah.
And were Norwich the only club interested in signing you, Luciano?
Sí, no, como te dije antes, tenía oferta en Turquía, España y en Norwich. Tenía también otras ofertas aparte de Novia, otros clubes también de Inglaterra.
He had the opportunity to go to Spain, to go to Turkey, and then also he had the opportunity to stay in the UK also. But finally, he decided to go to Norwich City, because he thought it was the best option for him. He spoke with the manager at that time, and the manager wanted him, so that's why he took that decision.
As well as he moved to Norwich, the deal involved Steve Morison making the switch to Leeds United in a swap deal, effectively to replace you at the club. I know not all players know the ins and outs of the transfers, but were you aware of the terms of that deal? Because to the Leeds fans, it seemed that we were losing you, someone who had scored so many goals and had so many good memories, and was a hero for Leeds, for Steve Morison, someone who never really got going at the club and never performed to the standard of you, and with no money involved in the deal, it kind of felt Leeds were cut short a little bit.
No, bueno, yo lo que sabía que Warnock quería hacer ese cambio, quería Morrison. No puedo opinar, o sea, no soy nadie para yo opinar sobre Morrison. Yo no sabía que iba a hacer esa transferencia así.
He didn't know about the deal. He didn't know about anything about Steve Morrison. Obviously, he's saying that he's nobody to talk about that dealing, but obviously, as we said at the beginning, he didn't felt Luciano knew that Warnock wanted Morrison, but it wasn't really clear. That's why Luciano at the end he realized and he decided to leave the club, because he felt that the coach wanted to bring another player and he doesn't know for what reason.
And unfortunately, things didn't really work out for you at Norwich. And after your time there, you made the switch to Rotherham and then the return to Argentina and Spain later in your career. However, during your time at Rotherham and when Neil Warnock had departed, there were reports that Leeds might be trying to re-sign you and bring you back to Elland Road. Were you ever close to returning to Leeds once you'd been sold, and would you have liked to come back?
Sí, sí, y después de volver a Argentina, antes de fichar por el Rotherham, tuve la oportunidad para volver al Leeds. Cellino había hablado con mi representante. Tuvimos un día antes de que yo fuera para Rotherham, estuvimos hablando todo el día. Habíamos llegado a un acuerdo para la firma. Yo solo tenía que ir al otro día al club y nunca me atendieron. No sé, o Cellino no cogió el teléfono, no lo pudimos encontrar. Y finalmente, imagínate, es como un niño chico que le ponen un caramelito en la boca y se lo quitan. Yo estaba muy contento por la vuelta y al final no se dio. Y firmé por el Rotherham.
So when he came back from Argentina, he was sitting. ¿Cómo se llama el tipo? Cellino. So he was sitting with Cellino and his agent, and the day before that he signed for
Rotterdam.
¿cómo se llama el equipo? For Rotterdam. He was dealing with Leeds United to re-sign him, and he doesn't know, his agent doesn't know for what reason. When everything was done, the next day they never get back to them. They didn't pick up the telephone. They never answered the phone calls, and they were a little bit upset. But obviously they had the opportunity to go to Rotterdam, and that's why he decides to sign there. But obviously he's saying that he was really, really happy at that moment, because obviously for him Leeds United was his home.
This final section of the show is where our followers get to ask their questions to our guest by commenting on our LUFC Fan Zone Instagram post. Each episode we select 4 questions which are commented and put them forward to our guest.
This week's first question comes from Mitchell, who asks, during your time at Leeds, Luciano, you scored 86 goals in all competitions, but which one was your favourite goal and why?
Mi gol favorito fue en los playoffs contra el Millwall, por lo que significaba en ese momento. Lamentablemente, obviamente, no pudimos sacar un buen resultado, pero para mí fue algo impresionante marcar ese gol y la sensación que sentí después del gol. De los 35.000 personas que había en el campo se caían. O sea, fue algo increíble. Nunca había escuchado a Elland Road de esa manera.
The best goal that he scored for Leeds United was in that playoffs against Millwall. You know, in front of 35,000 people at Elland Road. He never saw something before in his life, and what means that goal for the club also at that moment. Obviously, he's saying that that goal at the end of the day, it didn't give us the promotion, or it didn't give us to get to play the final. But for him, that goal it was the most important one because for the club at that moment, that goal give to Leeds United an opportunity to get back to the next round and get promoted to Championship.
This week's second question is from Billy, who asks, in your 5 seasons at Leeds, you played under 4 different managers, but out of Gary McAllister, Simon Grayson, Neil Warnock and Neil Redfern, who did you feel gave you the best bit of advice as a striker to improve as a player, and what was it?
Me quedo con Samuel Grayson. Creo que tengo que elegirlo a él por lo que ha vivido en el club, por lo que hemos conseguido con él. Obviamente es una decisión complicada porque McAllister, si no hubiera sido por McAllister, yo no hubiera ido a Leeds. Fue el entrenador que me firmó. Pero bueno, con Simon Grayson tenemos una conectividad especial, un trato muy bueno. Él me dio muchísima confianza y obviamente me ayudó para crecer en mi carrera.
Mm-hmm. It's not an easy one, guys, because obviously McAllister was the coach that gave him the opportunity to perform and play and sign a contract with Leeds United. But the connection that he had with Simon Grayson, he would say Simon Grayson because, you know, they had an amazing relationship. He likes the idea that Simon brings to the club, the achievements that they got, you know, getting that promotion to Championship, the season after that promotion, you know, they were really connected. They had an amazing relationship, and Simon Grayson was a great guy also, apart from being a top manager.
Next up is Freddie, who asks, what did you make of the song that the Leeds fans made for you, and can you remember hearing it for the first time?
No me acuerdo cuál fue el primer partido. No recuerdo. No recuerdo cuál.
He loves the song, obviously. Every time that you know, the people used to sing that song, you know, he gets the motivation that you know, it pushes you to go a little bit further, you know, to get the obviously the stuff that you have to do, but it helps you a lot to perform much better.
Do you think you cost less than Berbatov and scored more goals?
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
And this week's last question comes from Sean, who asks, what was your most memorable moment in a Leeds United shirt and why?
Obviamente, el recuerdo más especial fue la segunda temporada. ¿Y por qué? Por la promoción, por conseguirle el ascenso a segunda división. Fue algo que me voy a recordar para siempre.
The second season at the club, when they got promoted to Championship, it was a massive achievement, obviously for the club, but personally, it's something that he will never forget. So he remembers that, he keeps it on his mind, because the idea was that getting promoted, as we said before, and this is the moment.
And that ends today's episode. Thank you to everyone for sending your questions, and thank you so much for your time, Luciano, and of course, Peter, for your help. It's been great having you both on the show.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks to you, and anytime, whatever you need.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Fede, top man.
We'll be back next week with another guest. Stay tuned for the post over on our LUFC Fanzone Instagram later in the week. Thanks for listening.